outside the Mercury Lounge. She loves the city sounds. She feels that she's been found. Wherever there is light, she follows. Wherever there is light.
ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਸਾਬਕਾ ਫੁੱਟਬਾਲ ਖਿਡਾਰੀ ਟੌਮ ਫਿਨੇ ਦਾ 91 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਉਮਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਹਾਂਤ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਟੌਮ ਨੇ 1954 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 1958 ਤੱਕ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੀ 76 ਮੈਚਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੁਮਾਇੰਦਗੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਮੈਚਾਂ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਟੌਮ ਨੇ 30 ਗੋਲ ਕੀਤੇ ਸਨ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ 473 ਲੀਗ ਮੈਚਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਟੌਮ ਨੇ 210 ਗੋਲ ਕੀਤੇ ਸਨ। ਟੌਮ ਪ੍ਰੈਸਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਐਂਡ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਲੀਗ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਸਨ। ਫੁੱਟਬਾਲਰ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਈਅਰ ਦਾ ਖਿਤਾਬ 2 ਵਾਰ ਜਿੱਤਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਟੌਮ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਫੁੱਟਬਾਲ ਖਿਡਾਰੀ ਸੀ। ਉਸਨੇ 1953-54 ਅਤੇ 1956-57 ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਖਿਤਾਬ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ। ਆਪਣੇ ਕਲੱਬ ਲਈ ਵਫਾਦਾਰੀ ਲਈ ਜਾਣੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਟੌਮ ਫੁੱਟਬਾਲਰ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪਲੰਬਰ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਸਨ, ਇਸ ਲਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੈਸਟਨ ਪਲੰਬਰ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਟੌਮ ਫਿਨੇ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਧਾਂਜਲੀ ਦਿੰਦਿਆਂ ਫੀਫਾ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਸੈਪ ਬਲੈਟਰ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਹਾਨ ਖਿਡਾਰੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਦੌਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਖੇਡ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਟੌਮ ਇਸੇ ਸ਼੍ਰੇਣੀ ਦਾ ਖਿਡਾਰੀ ਸੀ।
Ladies and gentlemen, please may I have your attention. This weekend we say goodbye to a former England international legend and the most famous son of Preston North End, Sir Tom Finney. He played more than 400 games for England, scoring 30 goals. As a mark of respect in this great man's memory and his memory, we observe a period of silence which will start and end at the sound of the referee Kevin Friend's whistle.
you've done. I've missed you for so long. I can't believe you're gone. You still live in me. I feel you in the wind. You guide me constantly. I never knew what it was to be alone, no. 'Cause you were always there for me. You were always waiting. But now I come home and I miss your face so. Smiling down on me, I close my eyes to see.
Speaks of sight, you know, what can you say? You just need to listen to the people on the radio, the pundits. Everybody knows what the man was, and not just as a footballer. He was as a man. He was a model. He was a model father. He was a model person. The charity work that he did was immense. He'll never be forgotten. Not just within football, but you know, throughout the charity world as well. Sad loss.
Absolute legend, nothing else but. It's Mr. Preston North End, through and through. That's what it's been all the time.
The one that was so true. You were as kind as you could be. And even though you're gone.
And there was also, they used to have a section for the blind. And used to give a commentary for the blind, and they used to say they used to know when Finney got the ball because of the sound on the crowd. As soon as he got the ball, the atmosphere on the ground changed. And he said you didn't need a commentary. He said you knew Finney had the ball then, you know. And very good.
It was empty and alone. I can't believe you're gone, and I know you're
came down last night at midnight to pay my respects, and people were already gathering, and you know, it's a very, very sad day for every Prestonian and anybody to do with football. I had the pleasure of meeting Sir Tom because of making the statue, and it's all been a very humbling experience for me to be a part of such an incredible person's life. We're all very sad.
my hero, and that's what he was and he still is.
I mean, Tommy Finney, one of the great players, arguably the great, some people would say the greatest player that's ever been.
Unfortunately, I never ever saw him play, but you know of the legend of Tom Finney.
Every time she closed her eyes.
Shankly says he's the best English player that's ever been, and if Shankly thinks that, that's good enough for me.
He was a perfect gentleman, an amazing player, could play wide, play through the middle, absolutely unbelievable.
I am so proud to say I played football against Sir Tom Finney.
I think everyone that's connected with Preston, born in Preston, have got that affinity with Sir Tom.
He's the most famous Prestonian that I've ever known, that I think that we've ever had.
Everybody talked about the Preston plumber.
That's why they used to call us Preston North End. Oh, the plumber in 10 leagues.
He's like your granddad, you know, you're looking for him to give you a Werther's original or something. He's just a really humble guy.
He's the best two-footed player that's ever lived.
Doesn't matter where in the world you are. You talk about being associated with Preston North End Football Club, and the immediate response is to Tom Finney.
Everyone in Scottish football has the highest regard for the Tom Finney that used to play for Preston North End.
One of England's finest.
The greatest players this country's ever produced.
Everyone recognises the contribution he made to Preston North End and to England as a footballer.
Throughout their playing careers, the media made much of the alleged rivalry between Matthews and Finney. In fact, the two men shared a mutual respect and close friendship. Stoke City Football Ground was the venue for a unique reunion of these two legendary footballers.
Great friends. I mean, it was on the press who took this up. As a matter of fact, that when we played international matches together, Tommy would ring me from Preston to Blackpool. I'd ring him and say, well, I'll catch the train from Blackpool, and Tommy would be waiting for me at Preston, and off we went. And we shared the rooms together. And after the matches, whatever, we travelled back. He went to Preston, I went to Blackpool. Tommy had two great feet. He was deceiving. You wouldn't think he was so fast, but he had that sort of quickness off the mark, and he would glide through a player just like that. And the great play was he had a change of pace, which made him a great player.
Although it's difficult to draw comparisons between then and now, how do you think Tom would have fared if he'd been playing today?
He would have been brilliant, no doubt about it, because today, wherever you go, wingers must come in the game. And I feel sure that if Tommy was playing on the left or on the right, that's where the danger comes from. That's where the goalkeepers don't like centres across or whatever. He would have been really outstanding. When I went to live in Malta, they said that I took a comb out of my pocket during the game and did that.
Did they?
What must have happened? You know where the hot it was.
It was
I must have done that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be carrying a comb about.
No, that's what they thought,
Yeah.
because, you know, I'd like to play today if I could.
Any particular reason?
Because I love the game.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
In Portugal, yes.
Yeah.
That's right, I remember saying that.
Yeah.
Went in the back of the net a size 4 and came out a size 5. Yeah, I remember that stuff.
No, didn't he go in size 5 and came back with a size 4?
Well, I thought it was the smaller one we started with, and we were winning 4-0 after about 20 minutes. They changed it to ours then, and went on and beat them 10.
I remember that, yeah. 10-9. 10-1.
10-0?
1.
10-0, Stan.
Was it?
10-0.
It's funny, so Hardwick
10-0.
about 2 months ago, and he was talking about it. I said 10, and he says, no, it was 10-1.
No, it wasn't. It was 10-0. It's down to you looking at the records anyway.
Okay.
This prince turned up. I was sharing a room with Tom at the time, and he made Tom this fabulous offer, you know, £10,000 signing on fee, a new Mercedes, a villa, and free passage for his wife and kids whenever they wanted to go across. And when you think that in those days we were probably on about £18 or £20 a week, and this was a sort of £10,000 signing on fee and fabulous wages. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, if Tom could have gone, I would think he would have gone, but clubs in those days, they held all the power. You were only signed for one season, and if they wanted you at the end of that season for the following season, there's no way you could go anywhere else without going non-league. All the power was with the clubs, and they were ruled by autocratic chairmen in most cases.
I wouldn't change it. I would obviously have liked to have been playing today, but I had tremendous enjoyment out of the game all the time I played, and I think money was secondary anyway in those days because there just wasn't the money in the game.
The clubs then imposed their own wage structure on the players. They paid what they could actually afford. And I remember vividly Tom was on 14 in the playing season and 14 in the summer, which was a close season. And I was on 10 at the time in the playing season and 6 in the close season. And I got my 10th cap for Scotland at Wembley on Saturday. Did very well, I thought, without being big-headed. I went to see the manager, Billy Scott, on the Monday. He was a very, very nice fella. And I said, Mr. Scott, I says, I've got my 10th cap for my country. Did quite well. From now on, I would like, please, the same money as Finney, £14 all the year round. He said, but you're not as good a player as Finney. I said, well, I am in the summer.
Just been studying, looking around this ground now. We played here with Bolton Wanderers and Preston, and they've been marvellous. 30,000 here, all mixed together. Perhaps a couple of policemen walking around ground talking about holidays, no fighting. Where have we gone wrong?
That's what it was. It was a game of sport and enjoyment, and I mean, it was a common knowledge then that players. I mean, I used to go on the bus every home game and travel with the spectators, and we would have a chat about the opposition who we were playing, and the same coming back. But I mean, the game has changed considerably financially, and of course I feel that it's for the better in some respects, in that the players are paid on ability.
In possession, he was ruthlessly effective. After seeing him play at North End, one contemporary sports journalist was moved to write, "Every facet of the game was mastered by the most perfect player ever to grace an English pitch. He had immense athleticism, was majestic in the air, and possessed clinical finishing power." In 1950...
Not only was a wonderful footballer, he was a wonderful man. And no matter when you see him, he'll always be the same. And even when he was playing, he was a gentleman on the field. He never swore. You could kick him all over the place, and he'd never swear. I remember playing against Preston, and it was in February, and it was very hard. It was frozen. And I tried to tackle Tommy, and he went slithering on this frozen surface, right on his face, his chest. And he got up and dusted himself down and says, "Fizz neck on." You know, he could have sworn or something like that, but no. And he just turned around and started off. And that was the man himself. He was never ever begrudged anyone.
Tom was outside Ritter's Day, and had occasions to veer across and bundle him off the pitch onto the ash track, real heavy stuff, you know, real rough tackling. And when I got back to the ground on a Monday morning, Mr. Buck, the chairman, sent for me and gave me a bit of a rollicking for being a bit too rough on our Tommy, as he called him. And he cut it out and all that carry on, and he offered me some tablets to take to cool me down a little bit, and I told him what to do with his tablets, like. But Tom was great. He never sort of held a grudge, or he looked upon it like it was a game, and you had to do your best to try and stop him.
By the Finney finally hung his boots up on the 30th of May 1960. His voice breaking with emotion, Finney delivered his farewell speech to the Deepdale crowd, packed to double capacity. Football supporters came from all over the country, brought to Preston by the knowledge that this would be their last chance to see a legend playing the game he loved. For 2 decades, Finney had stirred emotions here at Deepdale. Somehow the people that gathered that day knew that they would never see his like again.
On the day I didn't feel like playing, I'll tell you that. I went out, and it was a very, very emotional occasion, and you know, the players were all in a circle, and the referee and linesman. The band were playing, and they sang, and I certainly didn't feel like, after it had all finished, I just felt really as though I wanted to go back into the dressing room and sit down and have a good cry.
In 1961, he received an OBE for his services to football. He's frequently called upon to make presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me very great pleasure to be asked along here tonight to present this wonderful trophy to Bill on behalf of Ladbrokes. Some of you will know, of course, that I played a wee time with Bill.
I remember many things about Shanks. We were at the football writers' dinner Thursday night before the cup final, and Bill and I was at the bar. I was having my gin and tonic, and Bill was having his mug of tea because he didn't drink at all. Shanks, of course, talking about the greats, Finney included, and Peter Doherty, people like that. And two members of the press come over, a bloke called Frank McGee, who used to write for the Daily Mirror in the North West here, and the bloke called Nigel Clark, who still writes for the Mirror down south. And Frank McGee says to me, Doc, he says, how does McShannon compare with Finney as a player? And I was quite taken aback, of course, rushing to dive in with a cheeky answer. And Shanks just held me back, and Nigel Clark interrupted and says, oh, I think McShannon compares very favourably with Tommy Finney as a player. And Shanks looked at both of them for about 2 seconds and says, mind you, he says, Finney's 65, he says.
The ground was packed, and you know what I remember about it was every time Tommy got the ball, you felt as if you could hear a pin drop, and then with every stride that he took, the noise increased, and it just seemed that time after time he reached the byline, whipped across a ball, or finished up with a shot, and by that time the volume was tremendous. And that night I can't ever remember him putting a foot wrong. He looked the perfect footballer.
There'll never be another Finney, ever, in this world, because the man upstairs made him, and he blessed us with a great talent, and I just feel sorry for the people who never saw him playing.
Thoughtful, kind, considerate, one who smiled easily. On the field, of course, I've seen him destroy First Division defences, and I've seen him play on the wing and make goals and score them for England. He was world famous. He never won a championship medal. He didn't win a cup winners' medal. He won something much more important than that. He won the heart of his teammates, quite often opponents, the supporters, and of the nation. He served the country during the war, and he served it just the same on the football ground. His passing recently, it's opened up a treasure trove of what I call football memories. Of course, it was a different era. People talked about them earning £14 a week. There was no television then, no advertising on grounds, no floodlights, no substitutes, no motorways, no names on shirts. We didn't need them, we knew who we were in those days. The simple truth is, of course, the people, the fans, knew the players. And people like Tom Finney were seen walking the streets of Preston. And if you're lucky and he wanted a plumber, he'd even come round and repair a leak for you. People ask me over the years, what would he be like today? But when you think about it, when he played, the ball was heavier, the pitches were poorer, quite often muddy, treatment of injuries wasn't as good, training wasn't quite the same, no sports science. No, it was all about him. You see, sporting talent, say unlike art or music, it can only out itself in its own generation. Tom was a gifted footballer, we all knew that. But to say what would he be like today, I can tell you he was strong and he was an all-round athlete. People never mention that. He was an all-round athlete. He had dribbling skills, he could head and shoot and tackle, we all knew that. But in my opinion, he's one of the real sporting icons that have come out of these islands. He's the classic case of the local boy who made good, really good.